I can't breathe. Politely using what breath he had left, George Floyd uttered the words, "Please, I can't breathe." When we are born, we initially can't breathe. Air fills our lungs, and to the relief of all who are present, we scream, using our first gulps of oxygen to let the world know that we have arrived. This typically takes about 10 seconds as we transition to our new environment, our little bodies adjusting to the loss of amniotic fluid, temperature change, and exposure to air. We learn in the first 10 seconds that breath is necessary for life. One of my favorite theological words is ruach. It's a Hebrew word, and strictly translated, it means wind, breath, and spirit. The Hebrew people understood it to mean the breath of God. Genesis chapter 2, verse 7 tells us, "The Lord God formed man out of the clay of the ground and blew into his nostrils the breath of life," or ruach in the original Hebrew text. And so man became a living being. Ruach, the breath of God, is what breathes life into all humanity and makes us living beings. What a beautiful and astounding truth. Not only are we fueled with oxygen, but with ruach. This breath of God gives life to our soul and reminds us of the unbreakable reality in our connection to one another and to God. God breathes into each of us, thereby connecting and intimately relating all of humanity, much like biological children are linked or connected through their shared parents. But unlike parents, ruach doesn't have favorites. It transcends that, whether it's race, geographical borders, gender, or income level. At this point in our lives, we've taken an immeasurable number of breaths. We use them to live, sing, exercise. And now it seems that as breath has left George Floyd's body without any scream, some of us are using our breath to scream on his behalf. This is a moment when we are called as people of God to take a look at our connection to others and to God. Each of us has ruach. Each of us is made in the image and likeness of God. Each of us is invited to participate in the joy that the crucifixion and resurrection that Jesus offers to humanity. These things are not reserved for certain groups. So whether you're Jew, Greek, Gentile, Black, white, rich, poor, male, female, Cubs fan, or Sox fan, it is for you. It may be an unsettling reality for some, but we are all, without exception, God's children and filled with ruach. The differences that exist amongst humanity are vast and endless, and even though most of us may be comfortable with different or other, clearly our comfort has limitations that must be broken through. Breaking through things is painful and challenging, and it will likely cause us to recognize that acting with boldness and brutal honesty from a place of privilege is exhausting and draining, but necessary. Because wouldn't we all be better served if we took the breath out of institutional racism and biased structures in society instead of one another? I will leave you with some words from the U.S. Catholic bishops. The following are excerpts from their pastoral letter on racism. It was written in 1979, and unfortunately, it is still applicable today. They write, "Racism is a sin that divides the human family, blots out the image of God among specific members of that family, and violates the fundamental human dignity of those called to be children of the same Father. It mocks the words of Jesus, 'Treat others the way you would have them treat you.' Indeed, racism is more than a disregard for the words of Jesus. It is a denial of the truth of the dignity of each human being revealed by the mystery of the Incarnation." Some questions to reflect on this week. How does your opinion of others change when you remind yourself that you, all of humanity, and God are innately linked through ruach, or the breath of God? And the second one, what biases do you have? They may be hidden away, and it's okay to go look deeply for them. It might be a little bit scary finding them, but begin to name them and confront them. Stay safe and treat each other well.